Good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome to Saturday night football in the NPL New South Wales men's competition. St George City searching for their first win in 5 against the Premiership chasers, Northwest Sydney Spirit FC. Alex Molchanoff, delighted to be in your company this evening for round 19 action, and we're going to look at two teams with similar recent history, both promoted to this division back in 2023. It was St George City who were the early success story. But this season, Spirit have flipped the script. Early season leaders pegged back by the might of Marconi and Rockdale. They want to ensure it's a 3-horse race all the way to the final day. 5 wins from their last 6 means they can cut the gap to the Stallions to just 2 points with a win tonight. For St George City, they're trying to get back on top in June, as Frank Sinatra once sang, after they were very much shot down in May. They can take some comfort in history, though. Spirit won the pair's opening fixture of the season, but haven't done the league double against tonight's hosts since they were both NPL 2 sides back in 2019. Well, let's have a look at how both sides will look to get the chocolates. Manny Spanadakis rings the changes after a 3-1 loss to Sydney FC last weekend. 5 of them. Jack Kenny resuming in goal behind a back 4 of Matthew Wabi. Brody Clarkson shifting back into defence alongside the captain, Solomon John Monahan Vika, and Dakota Askew coming back in at left fullback. Expecting a midfield 5. Dom Cox and Lewis Curry at the base of it, with Paolo Mitri back in tonight, Kai Kamikura and Nathan Roberts, the new wingers, supporting the star striker, Mark McNulty. For Spirit, just one change after their 92nd minute winner from Jamie Pasewski against Apia last weekend. He's out through suspension. Brady Smith shifting back into the centre of defence alongside Grant Cornwall and Kaya Williams, with Chris Marks in goal. Then we're looking at Zayn Alawalia and Simon Nicholas, the wing-backs. Corey Kavanagh, Michael Contestabo and Frankie Lucevic in behind Yua Kubo and Takumi Ifuka. And we are underway here. Kurt Ams, our centre referee. It's a high-scoring game in the fixture corresponding last season between these two. It finished 4-3 in Spirit's favour. A wild night of action. Hoping not a similar slate of goals will greet us this evening on this chilly Saturday night. Match of the round in the NPL New South Wales men's. That's it. Log on to our social media sites, NPL NSW. Across X and Instagram is where you'll find that. NPL New South Wales on Facebook. Jude Dolan doing great work behind the scenes, capturing all the action from that angle. Once you're done watching us on the Football New South Wales YouTube page, of course. City's season has really been a topsy-turvy one. Unbeaten in April after a sole loss to the Marconi Stallions. They really managed to get them out of what looked to be a bit of a relegation mire at moments. Form has just departed them a little bit. Again, defensive discipline been a recurring issue, as well as a lack of strike power outside McNulty. Certainly got the quality of player and seem to be getting some back tonight. There's Manny Spanadakis. Oh, it's going to be a test against the high-flying Spirit tonight, though. It's such an impressive start to their life in this division for St George City. 2 fifth-place finishes, finals football a year ago. The return of the playoff series. Not quite hitting those heady heights in 2025. Which has left room for sides like Spirit. Completed the league double against Blacktown City and Apia for the first time in their history. over the last couple of weeks. That's put them in a really strong position on the league table as we approach the final third of the season. Chilly conditions greeting us tonight at Penshurst Park, but it's not as cold as was forecast. It's around 16 degrees at kickoff. Perfect for football. Lewis Curry on the ball early for St George City. Turned over by Clarkson, though, and this is where Spirit love to go. Michael Conestobo's in fine form, and he's bearing down on goal. Kenny saved it well. Stood up, didn't commit too early, but a clear-cut chance for the visitors inside 3 minutes. Poor turnover from Clarkson, who's interchanged between central defence and central midfield across the course of the season, shifting back tonight with Coyote Godoy out through suspension. Nathan Grimaldi unavailable. So there's some defending to do for this new look defence as it's scooped towards goal. Diving effort from the reinstated Corey Kavanagh. Starting his first game since May after a soft tissue injury, kept him out for the last month. No doubt David Perkovic is very happy to have him back. Homegrown Spirit talent has been wearing the captain's armband in the absences of Grant Cornwall across the early stages of the season into that leadership group. Paulo Mitri back in, looking to give St George a little bit more cutting edge. On the ball out on the right-hand side, Nathan Roberts doesn't believe in lost causes, but he couldn't keep that one in play. Longest serving of the St George City players out there tonight, Roberts. With them the whole way through the journey, including their League One Grand Final victory back in 2022. With a few survivors from that side. Here's Kamikura. And they've got high hopes for, some from the Sydney FC academy system. Cornwall getting to that ball ahead of Roberts. Conestobo nodding it down for Kavanagh. Good piece of work from Cox. Back into the starting side today. It's really key in their last two seasons. Astute pick-up from Okoa Sydney City. Kaya Williams running himself into some trouble and leaving a little bit on Nathan Roberts. An early decision for Kurt Arms here. He's going to get away with a warning, the young Spirit defender. Just dribbling himself into a cul-de-sac, and Stretch perhaps a little fortunate that he hasn't ended up with a booking. Referees don't want to create a rod for their own back in that sort of situation so early in the game. Cool early opportunity here for the host. Someone very proficient over the dead ball in Paulo Mitri. Oh, and it's a short one, which almost caught Spirit unawares. McNulty made a clever run, but had stepped offside. City responded well. They're on the back foot in the early stages. Much of that tough run for City. Their last win over senior opposition was away at Southall and back in round 12. 7 games later, their only other wins come against academy opposition. Matthew Wabi, good piece on him on the NPL New South Wales men's sites during the week. City Junior, he's been brought into the first team and hasn't missed a game since being instated there against Olympic back in round 10. Been a bright spot in this topsy-turvy run of form. It's up to take this throw. Looking for some options in red. Gets it in the form of McNulty. You'll see him play with his back to goal a lot, trying to link up play with his wingers, and Mitri will play more as a second striker in behind him tonight than was the case a week ago. Started in the 4-4-2 against Sydney FC with young Kunis up alongside him. And he's selected on the bench today. It's Kaya Williams operating as the most central of the three centre-halves. Well liked by David Perkovic for his ball-playing ability. He's got a couple of goals in his senior first-grade career as well. Frankie Lucevic, another very astute pickup from Spirit, who've got a number of them in during the off-season. Gone on to be stars. Kubo and Afuka have been most noted, but Lucevic has barely missed a minute. American out of US college system. Didn't miss a game of his final season there with the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Spirit with the early edge in terms of possession, but just created that lone early opportunity to Michael Contestabo, which wasn't of their own making. Really desperate victory against RPL Leichhardt a week ago. They were more free-flowing against Blacktown City a week earlier when they beat them 4-1, having trailed early in that game. Equaliser, one of the goals of the season in terms of a team move. Great Cornwall taken late there by Lewis Curry. He's less than impressed with the decision. The Cox are going to be entrusted with trying to shut down that very fluid Spirit midfield. Spirit will have had an eye on what's happening in the Waratah Cup. They were the first team to win that competition from the second division. We've got another of the League One clubs all the way through to the final this season. Northern Tigers upsetting RPL Leichhardt at Lambert Park on Wednesday night. I don't know if Spirit fans would think it fitting, but two teams that have been so closely linked down the years. Getting to the final of that competition in such close proximity. It's well commented on by visiting teams that Penshurst provides a compact playing surface, which teams trying to break down City's back three can be a little challenging. Probably a more marked advantage than some other teams in this competition on their home surface. Almost looked as though McNulty was just trying to throw that back to Kai Kamikura to take the throw in himself, but play's gone on for now. See, very tight through midfield. Roberts, he try and create a little bit of space. He got a bit of luck with the ricochet off Contestabo. And now Kaya Williams has got to make his way back to ensure it didn't go behind for a corner. Throwing into this game, the hosts. Clarkson. Cox and Curry. This is when they're at their best. And Roberts is having an influence early. Ball in wasn't the worst, but well read by Cornwall. It's a battle that's gone on and on and on down the years. This time it's Williams across to try and corral the City winger. All he can do is turn it behind for a corner. Being on the back foot in the very early stages, City are making a good fist of this. Mitri into the starting side today, again entrusted with the set-piece duties. He's swinging in towards Chris Marks. Instead goes short to Roberts. Give himself a better angle. It's a dangerous ball and a free header, which Clarkson might have done more with. Strapping figure, Brodie Clarkson. He's renowned for being pretty good in the air as well. Disappointed he couldn't force a save out of Chris Marks from that lovely cross. Mitchell's been in and out of the starting 11 all season. Looking for a little bit of consistency in his form. He started very brightly here, and his touch for Curry is a beauty. Curry perhaps didn't have his head up, expecting Roberts to be further forward than he was. Curry swarmed upon by a couple of Spirit midfielders. And Cornwall's ball forward was a little agricultural. Just struggling to break their way free of the shackles of the City midfield at the moment. Changing game plan from Manis Banadakis is bringing them a good start to this game. The off-season signing, Dakota Askew, starting as part of our back three tonight. Spanadakis choosing to match his opposition coach tonight. Not being helped out by some of the play out from the back. Azalawali, of course, is a pretty simple save from Kenny. Took it on the second bite. McNulty strong in his hold-up play, but he didn't have too much support in red, and Spirit are coming with another flurry forward here. Good challenge from Kamikura. A lot of turnovers, a lot of battles for the ball through midfield. The opening 14 minutes or so. Kavanagh allowed to turn for the first time tonight. City don't want him in that sort of position. He goes down under the challenge from Curry, not enough for a free kick. Spirit can just calm it a little. He's seeing a lot of misplaced passes like that from both sides in the early stages. Grant Cornwall's not been quite as tidy in his distribution as he often is. Both teams just try to find their feet. A quarter of an hour of this one. Brady Smith shifted back into the centre of defence tonight with the return of Corey Kavanagh. It's a lovely lob forward for Akubo, and Contestavo has got such a nose for goal at the minute. Feels he should have done better. It's a couple of chances for Mikey Contestavo. So far in this game, the best two chances of it. It's a better crafted move from Spirit. Played forward for Akubo, who plays above his size. Able to hold up the ball and take central defenders out of the game. Contestavo just not able to make that one stick. But he, Afuka and Akubo have been a headache for most defences up and down the competition this season. Curry going into another physical challenge. He's not on the right side of Kurt Ams's book at the moment. Going in a little high to that challenge. Good pedigree, Lewis Curry. He was part of Australian setups in his underage career. Spent a bit of time with the Blackburn Rovers Academy. Single appearance in the A-League for the Central Coast Mariners back in 2020. Let's see who bundles that ball out of play. Roberts going to nick it off his opposite number, Lucevic, but then turned it straight over again. A bit too much of that from City in the early stages of this one. Mitri. A little heavy with his first touch, came back for Cox, who tried to get a little cute himself. Mention the history between these two. Been playing year in, year out for basically since St George City were promoted back to up to NPL 2 for the first time, as it was back then. Spirit the only ones to do the double. Mentioned that back in 2019 for the opening of Penshurst Park. This terrific facility. Turn fixture at Seymour Shore. It was 2 goals from Duncan Stewart that night. A big part of Spirit's promotion campaign back in 2022. Goalkeeper for St George City that night was now Spirit's Chris Marks. Just looking for a moment to break this game open at the moment. Spirit have had more of the football, but a couple of chances missed by Mikey Conestabbo, and City trying to create pressure through their set pieces. Had a fairly clear opening themselves with Brodie Clarkson nodding wide on 10 minutes. The chances have been there. Cornwall did nicely to step inside Roberts, but again he misplaces his long ball, bailed out by Takumi Afuka. Wide for Nicholas, who's joined in his first attack of the night. Akubo's drifted to the left, hangs it up for Conestabbo. Just couldn't get the purchase on the header. Again, Spirit's chances falling to their number 10. Been in fine goal-scoring form, as I mentioned. Second only to Akubo in terms of goals scored for the club this year in the league football. 9 for the Japanese striker. Been one of the signings of the season. Conestabbo's been with Spirit all the way through their promotion campaign, but for the past half a decade. He's found a new level this season. A bit of a run of injuries, Spirit's first couple of years in this competition, but showing he is right at home. And Viker just bundling his way into Akubo. Not sure how much he knew about the ball hitting him, but it's clean enough. Arguing that he might have had a free kick as well. Spirit building, looking for the breakthrough. He has to be very precise on this pitch, but it's been in patches. As I say that, Nicholas fires a rather aimless cross-field ball. Kamakura say the same of his clearance. Alawalia. Conestabbo and Afuka. Askew read the danger and managed to get a foot in. It's been laden with silverware over the past few years. Dakota Askew, part of Blacktown City's grand final winning team back in 2022. Moved to Apia, won a premiership there. He's part of the Waratah Cup winning team a year ago before making the move to St George City. Oh, that's another poor back pass, this time from Kuri and Akubo. It's a very tight angle, but City continue to concede chances by giving the ball away in very dangerous areas. It's not been the brightest start from the hosts. It's a little fortunate that they still find themselves deadlocked at 0-0. Better from Kuri. He's in the action a lot. It's been 50-50 as is, so whether it's been a positive impact or whether he's turned the ball over. That was a better one, winning it back. Monahan Viker. He's got ball playing ability from the back. Cox. Angle ball for Kamakura, but couldn't bring it under his spell. So the same of Conestabbo under pressure from Kuri, but the final touch was from Clarkson. Just those little bits of sloppiness from City, otherwise they'd be right up with Spirit in this game. Use of the ball when they've been in attacking areas has been fairly impressive. They just haven't progressed it that far often enough. Conestabbo is starting to get into areas like that a little too much for their liking. Fuka and Akubo, that's been the link up for Spirit. This time Akubo's touch betraying him at the vital moment. Williams entrusted with a big responsibility in the centre of that back three tonight. It's got pretty well to this point, and Kavanagh's helping out as well, lobbing it over the top. Akubo's the right side of the defence. Clarkson back sweeping up. Oh, it's Brady Smith's opportunity to put his foot on the ball. Alawalia. The Newcastle Jets Academy system a couple of years ago. Signed for Manly United, had a slate of injuries, just couldn't find his way into the first team. He's barely missed a minute for Spirit this year. Lovely switch from Conestabbo to Nicholas. Visitors starting to find more of their flow. And Afuka is into a dangerous position. And Conestabbo, there was only one result. You can't give him three looks. He had the night for the season, and very well deserved for Spirit, who have really grown into this game in its opening quarter. And when it fell to Akubo in that area, he was able to get his head up and feed the man who has been in such fine goal-scoring form. Spirit take the lead at Penshurst, just as they did a year ago. City crafters of their own demise in different periods during this first half. That was a rather sweeter Spirit move, but results in the opening goal on this Saturday night. Another turnover from Cox. Fuka has a big appeal for a handball turned down. Monahan Viker bailing out Tom Cox. Not quite looking himself out there at the minute. Just can't keep the ball at the moment, City. Playing themselves into big problems at Cornwall, just desiring it. Running through two or three City defenders. Roberts making his way back, shoving over the Spirit centre half. And the captain's mazy run ends with his side having a very promising set-piece opportunity here. And so Spirit have been so deadly from these situations, particularly in the last month. It was a threat for them earlier in the season. It's becoming a real weapon in their arsenal, their ability from these set pieces. No Jamie Paszewski tonight, but still plenty of height forward. Not the best ball from Alawalia. Vucevic trying to take it up. Cox just erring on it. Curry bails him out. And Kyle Williams looking as though he was trying to hold up play. No foul blown though. Lewis Curry continues his dance with the official. Again, there's too many yellow shirts around it for St George City's liking. Afuka for Akubo. Difficult one for Conestabbo to control, and Kawikura is happy to put his foot through it. McNulty just into the back of Kavanagh. Spirit have got their bit between their teeth now, moving the ball very nicely. Fuka seeing more and more of it. Signing from the Wollongong Wolves, where he was already turning into a star in this competition. He's gone to another level this season. His Japanese counterpart Akubo ahead of him. Conestabbo all in fine harmony in an attacking sense at the moment. Clarkson. Another turnover in City's own half. This is going to be the defining story of the fixture at the minute. Askew bails out his teammate. Mitri just pondering over the football. City for the opening 15 minutes looked right in this game, and now they look so far second best. Bailed out by Afuka, not managing to get himself back on side. in 5 after they were one of the competition's form sides through April. Is vanishing out the window. Memories of that month of football. Thankfully, their form through that month has them 10 points clear of the relegation playoff picture. Druitt Town Rangers and the Central Coast Mariners really struggling to pick up points. It's going to take a dramatic fall for them to end up in that sort of situation. But the standards that City have set is of a club that's ambitious and looking to make their way up the table. Performance tonight is not befitting of that to this point. Still plenty of football to be played though. Not yet through half an hour here. Mitri. Can he be the one to change the game? It's a nice little turn out of trouble. Curry for Askew. And Monahan Vika for Brody Clarkson. Be a little bit tidier with the football. Kamikura. Askew. Wabi. Mitri really trying to put his stamp on this game with his ability turning past Spirit players, but that all ran into a bit of a dead end. Cox, that's what he made his name on. He first entered this competition, winning the ball back high up the pitch. Kamikura. Now Spirit being pegged back in their own half. There's been a response from City. What they needed. It's all tracking the wrong way for them. Roberts. Curry hauled down by Kavanagh. Kurt Ems is happy to play advantage. Come back out to Nathan Roberts. A hit and hope ball into the channel, but Curry's done well to make something of it. And turns it over. Spirit with this goal to nil lead have been so strong when scoring the first in games this season. Been the basis of their good run. Spirit's little slip came through the month of May as well. Weren't able to pick up victories on a as consistent a basis, but managed to recover from that point with the spine of the team reinstated in. Setback, they've had to do a little bit of defending over the last 5 minutes. This is where City were building their pressure early in the first half. Another chance to put some on Chris Marks. Well, the ball swinging in towards him, and this one's catching practice. See the target, it was Mark McNulty. One of the most high-profile signings around the competition at the start of the season. Storied career for the lower leagues of England and Scotland. The longest period of that with Sheffield United, when they were a League One side. Kurt Ems has let plenty go in this first half, which has provided some entertainment for us. Another turnover playing out from the back by by City rather. Managed to be won back by Dom Cox, who after a slow start is starting to get himself back into the game by just harrying and hassling Spirit players. More defending to do here. Afuka. Gorgeous turn, and then he's bundled over off the football. This time it's Roberts, not sure of foot. Kavanagh and Vika holding his shirt, and that has been spotted by referee Ams. And another dangerous position. Good, his first start since May, as we mentioned, for Corey Kavanagh. It's 4 weeks out. Actually didn't miss him as much as you might have thought through the centre of the pipe. Brady Smith did a fantastic job stepping into that position. Kaya Williams is going from strength to strength as one of the back three. Frankie Lucevic being entrusted with this. City have gone for 4 in the wall for Jack Kenny. Oh, Mitri pulls away. Goodham's just having a word, making sure everybody is nice and settled. Good header from Akubo. Rose above Kamikure. He's the direct marker. Simon Nicholas has not missed a beat tonight. Been fantastic. The left wing back for Spirit FC, one of their first signings after their promotion campaign from RPL Leichhardt. Gorgeous ball from Williams, and Connor Stabo almost springing the offside trap. He's knocked it around Kenny. And Dakota Askew back as the saviour. Gorgeous ball from Kaya Williams. Took out almost all of City's back line. Jack Kenny just doing enough, springing off his line to shut down the danger with the help of Askew. Just over 10 minutes to play in this first half. Spirit have been good for their goal-to-nil advantage. It's not to say City haven't had positive periods, but it hasn't been consistent by any stretch of the imagination. It's a better ball out from Brodie Clarkson. Need to get McNulty into the game more, but Williams has had his measure to this point. Aluwalia. Spirit really playing with so much intensity. See what a well-oiled machine they were. Came into the season looking like that. Undoubtedly well prepared. A lot of the comments we're making about Spirit tonight certainly applied to City over the last couple of seasons. This has been the outlier. 2025 since their promotion. Lucevic, who found the head of Yu Akubo from about 20 yards further down the sideline. Chance to try and whip this away from Jack Kenny again. This one's a little deeper, towards less in yellow. Afuka reels it in, gets a second bite. Thought better of the cross though. Aluwalia deeper still. Williams coming from an offside position, so will be flagged. Assistant Hayden Kay on the near side this evening. But a pretty straightforward one for the officials to this point. A couple of heady challenges through midfield in the opening stages, but that's somewhat subsided. Reminder, this is our match of the rounds on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel. Find all the behind-the-scenes action from our Instagram story. Just search at NPL NSW. You'll be able to find that. A full slate of fixtures at 3 o'clock tomorrow. We'll bring them to you in just a moment. Aluwalia swings that one in towards the City penalty area. Connor Stabo looking to play a 1-2. A lot of the ball ending up in the air across this opening 35 minutes as well. And a rare error in touch from Takumi Afuka. Relieves a little bit of the pressure on St George City. City's last win over Spirit was in the early stages of last season. Went to Christie Park and managed to get a 2-1 win early in the campaign. Goals that night from the two departed players, Presley Ortiz and Jason Romero. Ortiz with flying RPL Leichhardt. Jason Romero down in the NPL Victoria with Preston Lions, who are making a good story of their own. Frankie Lucevic into a tangle with Curry, but not enough for a free kick, according to Kurt Ans. And you can say the same as Mitri tried to spin away from Nicholas. Spirit looking comfortable with their goal-to-nil advantage. Passes like, well, I was going to say won't help, but it took a touch off Mitri. Cox plays it out. Alex Molchanoff along with you on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel tonight. Round 19 action from the NPL New South Wales men's. If you've just joined us, Michael Conestabbo has the goal that separates the two teams. His 9th league goal of the season. A long-time Spirit player. He's on the ball here, linking up with Corey Kavanagh. He's looking to slip in Takumi Afuka, who makes it too. Classy finish from the Japanese midfielder. It's the vaunted front three again. Makubo dragging the defence away, leaving the space for Afuka. Conestabbo playing a hand in the build-up with Kavanagh. It's all flowing on full cylinders for Spirit FC. There was very little doubt about the outcome when Afuka had slipped the wrong side of the defence. Well crafted again. When players of Spirit's quality are given space between defence and midfield, they are more than likely to make you pay. And they've done that on 2 occasions now, leaving City some hill to climb if they're to get back into this one. The pattern of play, the trends of this game, it's looking more like it'll be a third for the visitors than an answer from their hosts at the minute. Again, still short of half-time. A goal before the break could change the narrative. But David Perkovic and his coaching staff are looking on smiling at the minute. Team had to warm their way into the game, but now that they have stretched their wings, looking very, very deadly. And the ball moves into their final third. Conestabbo had taken a couple of earlier chances. Margin might be bigger. Say the same of Brody Clarkson, who headed wide inside 15 minutes for St George City, their best opportunity of the match. Apart from that, Chris Marks has had a quiet evening. Fuka using his body nicely. The Spirit bench are buoyed at the minute. It's all the noise you can hear over from the far side. So Askew assessing his options. 5 changes made by Manis Banadakis coming into tonight. Looking to try and drive a reaction from his players. As though it was getting some of that in the opening quarter of an hour, but Spirit have managed to wrangle the momentum in their favour. Been very impressive. The ball has entered their attacking penalty area as Nicholas wins a free kick deep in his own half. Well, now quickly Spanadakis will go to his bench. Plenty of attacking weapons there. Well, Kunis, who got that start, his first of the season against Sydney FC a week ago. Gonçalo Agrelos as well. Player with plenty of pedigree from overseas. Portuguese attacking player. Jesse Foti. But at the moment, it's all Spirit playing the football. Corey Kavanagh is quite enjoying his first start in some time. Got the assist for the second goal. He's trying to slalom his way through all by himself there. Going from strength to strength, year on year. Barker College product in the northern suburbs of Sydney. Had a little chip at Kamikura there, but who gave him a second bite. And the throw has gone Spirit's way. The decision-making of some of the City players coming out of their own half at times in this first 45 minutes has left a little to be desired. Iffy throw from Zain Alawalia. Springs clear for Paolo Mitri, who was stretching for it, and perhaps that's why he didn't quite get the purchase. McNulty still trying to make something of it. Nicholas happy to stick it onto the road, well out of danger. Much of those games coming your way tomorrow on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel. 5 of them, all kicking off at 3 o'clock. St George FC taking on Marconi, Rockdale taking on Mount Druitt. Those are the ones for the watchers of the Premiership chase. No doubt the Spirit fans tuning in this evening. As things sit, they'll be just 2 shy of Marconi, level on points with Rockdale, but behind on goal difference. Once they can change that, they're looking pretty dangerous every time they get forward. Conestobo had that one nicked off his toe by Clarkson. Lucevic reading the ball inside. Cutting that out. Roberts doing well to retain it. He's got no support in red around him, though. Spirit, by contrast, moving in packs, hunting the football. There's other fixtures tomorrow. Sydney Olympic taking on the Sutherland Sharks out at Jubilee Stadium. Central Coast Mariners hosting the Wollongong Wolves, and Apia Leichhardt taking on Blacktown City. Two of the top 6 contenders battling. There's a chance for Sifty to make something of foray forward from Lewis Curry. Wanted a free kick on the edge of the area and he stayed down. Now Kurt Adams is stopping play to check on the well-being of the St George City midfielder. Questions about a free kick on the edge of the area, but the referee had a good view. Hoping this isn't too serious because City not exactly filled with midfield options on the bench. So maybe Faboto Kamada could come on and do a job in that area of the pitch, but generally been used as a wing-back across his time in the NPL. This does look serious for Lewis Curry, which is a shame. He's been a big presence in the opening 45 minutes. See if Kurt Adams is patient enough to add on a little bit of time at the end of this first half. We have ticked into added minutes. Nathan Roberts squatting down next to him, taking on some fluids. Thankfully Curry back to his feet, but don't know if he's going to be able to continue. Looking very ginger as he makes his way from the field. .25-year-old midfielder. Things restarted with a drop ball, not expecting too much time to be added on at the end of the first half. It's been largely devoid of stoppages. Which in contrast to City's last game here, just delayed by a serious injury. A 45-minute delay in the second half. Bizarre game against the Wollongong Wolves. Wants to fight their way out of that one with a draw. I'll be hoping they can do the same tonight, but it's a steep task. Spirit had to work their way into the game, but once they did, Michael Conestobo had a glut of chances. He took one just inside the half-hour mark to give Spirit the lead. His 9th strike of the league season before Takumi Afuka got in on the act. His 6th. Smartly taken finish on his left foot. Spirit have been crafting more than their fair share of opportunities. Sitting in a response as we go to half-time here at Penshurst Park. Winless run looking set to continue. As the teams head to the sheds after 45 minutes, it's St George City 0, Northwest Sydney Spirit FC 2. Welcome back to Penshurst Park, the second half of this match of round 19 about to get underway. St George City kicking us off from left to right. The hosts trailing by 2-0 at the break. Separated by strikes from Michael Conestabro and Takumi Afuka. Two of David Perkovic's front three, giving his sides the early advantage. A couple of changes for City at the break. We'll bring them to you in a moment. Here's one of them, Jesse Foti. Well, almost an immediate impact. One of the two changes from Manis Spanidakis at half-time, both attacking ones. Nothing to lose with this 2-goal deficit. On the back of making 5 changes to the starting lineup from the team that were beaten by 3-1 by Sydney FC last time out. There's the other one of the changes. Muto Kamada coming on as the left wing back. Kai Kamakura making way. And up front it's Paolo Mitri, who's slotting back into the heart of midfield with Foti playing higher up. Nathan Roberts making way at half-time as well. So City making 2 of their 5 changes, hoping for an improved display in the second half. Certainly come out of the blocks a lot quicker, and Kamada is down the left. He provides that pace, and his cross is turned behind. Spirit know they're going to have a battle on their hands in the second half. It's all to defend. City didn't give the best account of themselves in the opening 45 minutes. There'll be too many watching on that will disagree with that comment. Well, they've got quality in the locker. Can Paolo Mitri unpick this Spirit defence? Cornwall read the corner best. Swung out to the right where Kuri's waiting. That's a very dangerous ball. Monaghan Viker managed to get his head to it, but couldn't force a meaningful save out of Marks. And pretty comfortable for the Spirit goalkeeper to this point tonight. Brody Clarkson turning their best chance of the first half wide of the target when the score still sat at 0-0. See the ball here, turning it deep for Jack Kenny in goal. Continuing to grow into that number 1 jersey. Second season he's had it, the 22-year-old. Corey Kavanagh back in the starting lineup for David Perkovic tonight. He's put in a fine display, and he's won the ball high up the pitch. Conestabro, well held by Kenny. That had plenty of venom behind it. Good piece of goalkeeping not to provide the rebound either, because Akubo was lurking. Right start from both teams to this second half. Really going at it hammer and tongs. Foti for Wabi. Again, it's Cornwall back doing the defending. Conestabro's flick less than ideal. Kamada. So often the man with the answers for St George City. Nolte was trying to weave his way through a couple. Clarkson stretching for it, can only turn it out for a throw. So as things sit, Spirit going for their 6th win in their last 7. Those couple of wins the last 2 weeks against Blacktown City and Apia, which have really got them amongst the Premiership chasers. They'll be level with Rockdale on points should the score hold. Wabi with plenty of pressure in his back, but he did well to craft a throw for City. For St George City, they've got Wollongong Wolves in their sights at the start of the night. Could have caught them up. They've been able to take the 3 points, but it's going to be a bit of a hill to climb in the second half if they're to do that. Lewis Curry's got the bit between his teeth. Wide for Jesse Foti. Foti clattering into the back of Michael Conestabro, who'd come back to observe his defensive duties. City playing themselves into trouble plenty of times during that first half, but seem to appreciate the opportunity to chase the game. Put together a couple of meaningful attacks towards the end of that first half. Need to continue that form in the second. Certainly come with a little bit more about them. It's not the best bit of distribution from Chris Marks on a cold night. It's never easy for goalkeepers in that position. anchoring the equal second best defence in the competition coming into the night. Spirit sitting level, having conceded 18 goals with Manly United. Only Marconi better than those two on that side of the ball. Just to outline the difficulty City are going to face in chasing this game. Talked about the fluency of the front three, but the defensive discipline has been just as impressive. Moto Kamada less than impressed that he's been flagged offside there. Signing a couple of seasons ago from the Sutherland Sharks, the Japanese wing-back. Some time as well earlier in his New South Wales career with Mount Druitt Town Rangers. Been over in Australia for almost a decade now. Spirit, when they've been at their best in this game, just zipping the ball around this artificial surface at Penshurst Park. So they've got a few more natural grass ones coming into the competition over the last couple of years, but still the majority of the league playing their home games on Synfo. Kenny directing wide for Wabi, did well to keep it in play. The teams have lined up with the back five tonight, the two wing backs. City making a change from a week ago when they lined up in a back four. It's been a bit of an experimental period for Manny Spanidakis. After the four was reaping results for them a month or so ago, it's been less the case. This is the system they were promoted in. Not too many players remaining from that campaign back in 2022. Be going long. A touch here for Mike McNulty. He's not really been as much of an influence on this game as City would have liked. Nicholas taking his time over the throw. Spirit in no hurry now. We want to keep playing their brand of football, which is high intensity and keeping the ball in play, but there'll be a modicum of game management slipping in there now as well. This 2-goal advantage. Spirit trying to do the double over St George City for the first time since 2019. They've got themselves in pole position. Kavanagh's shot fired in. It's fairly easily handled by Jack Kenny. Curry just had to wait for the ball to drop, and that put him in a little bit of trouble. Connor Sabo feeding Akubo on the right. He's got a couple to aim for in the middle as well. Good defending from Clarkson. And Cox cleaning up the scraps. He's taken by an uncompromising challenge from Kavanagh. Still fallen in City's favour. Now they've turned it over. Akubo. Fuka's already got his name on the score sheet once. That shot was deflected on its way through to Kenny by Matthew Wabi. Lending a hand in the central area of the pitch. McNulty, player with plenty of technical quality, and that testing ball forces Williams just to nod it out of play. Diligent work from the young ball boy down this near side, sprinting across to get that ball in. And Mitri, well, he went down, but Brady Smith thought that he hadn't put too much pressure on him. Now a set piece in a dangerous area for City. Is this where the comeback begins? Has to start sooner rather than later. Ten minutes into the second half. They might have their best opportunity yet. Chris Marks well aware of the danger. Kamada, someone who can get plenty of whip on these balls into the area. They've thrown plenty of bodies forward. Every Spirit player back inside the box to defend this one. Good bit of defending from Williams. Still might fall for a red shirt. Clarkson just wouldn't drop for him. Then Lucevic makes the clearance. Konostavo couldn't get there. Kamada gets a second bite. Monahan Viker, Fodhi. As the ball bounced up towards him. And then Nicholas with the most no-nonsense of clearances. It's a better spell for St George City. And they find a reward on the score sheet. Mentioned in the first half, the corresponding fixture between these two played last year was a 4-3 result to Spirit after the 90 minutes. Certainly been enough opportunities in the game to suggest we might get something similar. Afuka. Will require City to show a little bit more cutting edge. Cox was stretching for it, but won it fairly. So the same of Afuka. Blocked the clearance from Wabi. He's now being pegged right back into his own corner. Afuka manages to prevent it from going behind for a goal kick. Throw, rather. For the home side. Just over half an hour to find 2 goals and make this a contest. Cox losing balance as he played that forward. Monahan Viker not convincing in his clearance. Now under pressure from Akubo. City crafting their way out nicely. Well judged under plenty of pressure from Spirit. The small pitch means that they can apply their press. Good conditions for that tonight as well in the cool. Akubo. And just win it back in a promising area for Spirit. And the high foot has been pinged there by referee Ams on Dominic Cox. Result is far from a fait accompli, but Spirit are looking comfortable with their 2-goal advantage. Interesting little run for them after this as well. Host Western Sydney Wanderers at Christie Park next weekend, a team that's not been in the finest of form. Still Nicholas might make something of this. On a chance to swing his foot at it for Konostavo. Clarkson affecting it just enough to make the gather easier for Jack Kenny. Oh, it was a good piece of distribution as well, but Wabi's touch let him down. Just not quite clicking for the hosts this evening. Dangerous one from Nicholas that left Foti position where he could have taken something on. Williams getting back to the defending. Clarkson. Long switch. Might be on the money. McNulty's onside here. Ball took him wide, but Wabi was there in support. Curry hasn't had the chance to line up this evening, and that was not far away. Marks almost looked wrong-footed. Not sure whether Curry had given him the eyes, but zipped it just wide of his near post. Been near faultless this season, Chris Marks. Have a little against Blacktown City that allowed them the opening goal. Almost got caught out there. Sheet is still clean for now. We tick towards the hour mark. Oh, and now it's Funky Lucevic's turn to play a loose pass, and Marks is out of his goal, and again it bounces a whisker wide. not who you want to turn the ball over to in that situation. But City almost had their lifeline. A couple of moments in the space of 3 minutes that might have turned this game. St George City just lacking a little bit of luck. Feel they needed to take one of those moments. It might just buoy them, the fact that Spirit have begun to concede 1 or 2 more chances. That could all be snuffed out if they can find a third here. Lucevic is culpable for giving it away. He's done it again. Foti playing hold up, but couldn't slide it into the on-running Mitri. Can't take your eyes off this one for a moment. This little period of play, Wabi clever enough to see the ball behind for a goal kick. Perhaps getting an example of the size of the pitch here at Penshurst Park. It's much talked about, but Jack Kenny has launched that almost into Spirit's defensive penalty area. Still worked out all right for the visitors, though. Akubo drifting into that wide right position, as he loves to do. Kavanagh, who fed him, continuing his run through the middle. Just brought to a halt initially by his Japanese counterpart, Kamada. Still, they found a way through. Olawalia was sniffing around for that one. Monahan Viker ends the immediate threat. Lucevic keeps it alive. A lot of that tonight in the opening hour or so. Ball just bouncing up at awkward heights, challenging the touch of the players. Both teams. This time it's Curry sticking out a hand. Perhaps a little unfortunate. It was very close to Michael Conestabo, but referee sees the arm that far away from the body. Inclined to give the free kick. Give Spirit a chance to kill this game off. Kavanagh entrusted with a set piece. A little more circumspect in the numbers they're throwing forward. Just 4 to aim for. It's still travelled across the face of goal for a fair distance. Brodie Clarkson forced to just chest it out of play. Not really aware of what was behind him. Kurt Am's aware of just a little bit of, I won't call it time wasting, game management that's sneaking in from a Spirit perspective. Monahan Viker flying out of the 6-yard area to clear. Smith keeping it alive, but he's jumped over the top of Lewis Curry, and the free kick goes St George City's way. It's another telling statistic for the hosts this evening. Haven't managed to score 2 goals in a game since their last win against the Central Coast Mariners. Back right at the start of May. There's been a couple of defensive struggles, but they haven't been able to hit the back of the net often enough has hurt them just as badly. Just the moment to change that. Mitri. Hopeful ball, but left Wabi with too much to do. Williams confident enough to stride through midfield. Over the tops of Testa, and Afuka was right on the back of Monahan Viker. Got there in the nick of time. That craftiness that's characterised Spirit's run into this 2-0 advantage is largely gone from their game as well, it must be said. A lot of direct balls like that coming from both teams at the minute. Kavanagh and Cox battling for it. The last touch off the Spirit midfielder. Kamara. Ball into the feet of Foti, who has met uncompromising challenge by Kaya Williams. And that has drawn a few protests from the City bench. It's almost right in front of them. Instead, they'll get themselves set now. The quick free kick not allowed. High line set by Spirit. Again, throwing plenty of numbers back. Jake Chidiak is being readied by David Perkovic. It's a stretching header. Not sure it didn't enter the box, and a shot fired in. Took a deflection on the way through as well. City building pressure through these set pieces. Delivery from these has not been too bad whatsoever. Just looking for a red head to take the initiative and finish off one of the good balls been fired in. This time it's Kamada over to the near side. Crowd of bodies around Chris Marks, and Kurt Ams just wants a word with a couple of them. Quarter of the game to go. Spirit holding a 2-goal advantage given to them by Michael Konostabo and Takumi Afuka. Chance to give this game some jeopardy for City here. McNulty right on the toes of the goalkeeper. It goes deep, and Marks only had one hand up for it and was fouled in the process. Grant Cornwall having a to and fro with the referee. Richard Chidiak was being readied, about to enter the fray. It's going to be Corey Kavanagh, back fresh from that first start. Got a couple of minutes last weekend in the win against RP Leichhardt. It's keen them managing to get that result. His night is over. Chidiak is not a defensive midfielder, so I expect Lutovic will step into that role. Chidiak is moving up alongside Iwakubo, so that's David Perkovic sensing he might be able to go for the throat here. Connor Starbo dropping in alongside the American midfielder. Well read by Smith. He's been faultless in his return to centre-back tonight. Nicholas trying to chase that one down. Monaghan Vikings did a better job of reading situations in the second half. Iwakubo's a little worried for the well-being of Matt Wabi. Things are continuing through the middle at the moment in a positive sense for City. Well done by Curry to fire it wide to Kamada. And his cross wasn't too bad. Mitri's lining up at the back post. It's Paolo Mitri who's fluffed these lines on his wrong foot. Thought that the ball was sitting up for that opportunity initially. Opted to take it back inside, give himself the angle, and then shinned the attempted half volley. Another moment goes begging for City. They've had a couple of them over the last 10 or 15 minutes. Still not been able to trouble the scorers. And now it's Manny Spanodakis going to make another change yet. Saw Iwakubo just out of the corner of my eye. A bit worried about Matthew Wabi. He looks as though he might have done some damage to himself. Let's hope that's not too serious. That's such a terrific run in the first team over his first couple of months, coming up from the under-20s. His night is over. It's another attacking substitution with young William Kunis joining the action. Fresh off his first start for St George City last weekend against Sydney FC. There's plenty of attacking options out there now. Looks as though Spanodakis has gone to a back four, whereas Foti moved into a wing-back position. We'll see as things continue to develop. I tell you what, that wasn't a bad first touch from Kunis. And again, Mitri finding himself in a good position. Manages to win City another corner. They might well be ahead in that statistic count. It's not the crucial one, but they're giving themselves plenty of opportunities. I have to think one of these goes in eventually. Kamada, particularly with his deliveries. And Curry with another chance. Williams turning, and there were appeals for a handball, but his arms did look fairly in. I think it might have struck him on the chest in any case. City players were convinced. Certainly if the arm was away from the body and it did strike it, then every reason to be unhappy. Not quite how I saw it from up here, but players have a better view than me. Kurt Am's had the best of anybody. He said no penalty. There's been a couple of moments that might have turned the game in this second half. It end up being the case. It's been a vastly improved performance from St George City, who were poor by their standards in the first half. See them doing a lot of stuff like that, but their intensity level has risen, managing to win the ball back a lot more often. They're doing a little bit more with it as well. Williams' header only as far as Foti. He can be the one to take the game into his own hands. Connor Starbo getting back to thump the ball clear. And then a sloppy touch from Will Kunis after such an impressive first one. Has let the opportunity go to waste. Curry, clever enough to work that little situation out. He's been terrific at the heart of City's midfield in his second half, Lewis Curry. Clarkson's ball playing's been much improved as well. Again, putting the Spirit backline under pressure. Eddie Clarkson, another who's jumped around a little bit. He and Askew is growing up at RPA Leichhardt. Clarkson's bounced around a couple of teams since then. He's been with City for a number of years now. Signing from Sutherland Sharks. Spent some time in the Northbridge system, as well as with Mount Druitt Town Rangers. Spirit are convinced that anywhere but there will do, but looks as though Jake Chidiak had turned out of play before he was able to fire the ball down the other end. 18 minutes for City to find something. Askew's ball out won't help them there. Simon Nicholas will have to stride forward with green grass in front of him. And Afuka in a dangerous wide position. Good piece of defending from Monahan Vika. Chidiak keeps the attack alive. This time it's Curry back. They've sorted it out between themselves, the City backline. It's down the wrong end though. Nolte almost dummying the flick on that. Put the touch off Cornwall. He's happy to heave it into the night sky this time. Curry for Askew. Now Foti. Calls for him to go out his play. Plays a lovely 1-2 with Mitri. Jesse Foti for St George. And again the appeals for handball. This time it's given. Brady Smith back in cover. Had the ball fired towards him. Arm away from the body, and Kurt Ams had no hesitation in pointing to the spot. Said City have had these moments. They've been building pressure and now rewarded with a chance from 11 metres. Mark McNulty, Edinburgh-born striker. Signing from Shamrock Rovers in the League of Ireland at the beginning of the season. 6 league strikes in 2025. Can he stand up in the big moment here and give City a lifeline against Chris Marks? He does just that. City's pressure pays. Their star marksman converts from the penalty spot, and it's game on here at Penshurst Park. Crowd that have been rather subdued this evening finally have something to cheer about. End of the night for Paolo Mitri, who was the one making all the inroads earlier in the game. And that's their Portuguese import, Gonçalo Agrelos, who's entering the fray. More attacking changes for Manis Panadakis. Could they still save something here? Another precious point to take them back into the sanctity of mid-table. Spirits run at the Premiership on the line here. Haven't been able to find the flow that they had in the first half. Game that has slept walked along for large parts of this second half. But it's City who sees the initiative. Well, worth the goal back, and they're buoyed by that. Agrelos just chipped down by Afuka. Foti, been good since coming on at the break. Has given them an extra aspect as Connor Stabo bundles over Dom Cox. We've barely seen him right high up the pitch, and now he's won his side an attacking free kick. Said the set pieces were bound to pay. Still haven't seen one of them converted, but another chance here. So Spirit, as is their wont, throw everybody back. Suddenly there's a little bit more urgency in that back line. Foti's ball in. It was a dangerous one towards Monahan Vaika, or Kuri rather, firing that one in. Afuka, whose goal now separates the two teams. Smith stooping to get something on it. Cox making a fist of it. Not wide for Foti. And again he's taken down by Conestabo. He must be walking a fine tightrope. Spirit throwing numbers back. After looking so comfortable for the opening hour, they are suddenly being put under all sorts of pressure. Kuri has had a marked improvement in the second half. Flicked on by Monahan Vaika. Wouldn't quite fall for Kunis. Way by Chiriak. Kamada looked like it hit him on the back of the head. Went the right direction. It's Kenny's turn to hoist it high. Favour of Nicholas though. Lucevic lost it as he tried to take it on. Monahan Vaika. Spirit players committing, but not able to get a touch on the football at the moment. Oh, and then Kamada turning it over in a dreadful area. Chiriak allowed to run. He's looking to squeeze that in behind. In fact, it's only Wigan on that far side, not Chids. My apologies. Looking into the light can catch us commentators out every now and then. Oh, it's Afuka, whose evening is ended. Is his going to be the big difference? Marko Arambasic brought on to replace him. In fine form in the 20s this season. Hasn't been too bad when he's been called up to the first grade side either. Regular off the bench for David Perkovic. Suddenly looking for a goal, a sliding challenge. The free kick awarded before that by Kurt Ams. Coming together a little bit higher up the pitch. Now Spirit are unhappy with the firmness of the football. Fresh one called for by Grant Cornwall. Kurt Ams is happy with that one. Temperatures started to drop here at Penshurst Park, but the action's heated up in the last 15 minutes. City chasing this game. Have got a goal back and a lifeline through Mark McNulty. Beautifully judged ball from Marks. Now Aaron Basic and Wigan, the two substitutes, can try and link up. Clarkson wins the throw. Be quite the escape if City are able to find their way out of this. Something that could spark their season. Ahead of a tricky run of games. They go away to Blacktown City in a week's time on Sunday. For another trip up to Cromer Park. The free kick's gone Spirit's way here. Oh, with only the single goal advantage. Happy to throw the centre halves forward again. So Williams and Cornwall joining Aaron Basic and Wigan in positions to try and attack this ball in from Zayn Alawalia. And Cornwall got up. One-hand Viker whisks it away. Kubo still might make something of it. Stings the palms of Kenny. Danger not averted for City. Alawalia. And Wigan has managed to win a throw. Spirit have it down the right end. This might be the better way to victory than the way they've tried for the majority of this second half, defending deep, trying to protect their leads. A couple more attacking weapons and fresh legs thrown on by their manager. Kunis needed to be stronger there. Smith and Connor Starbo bumped it into Brody Clarkson, away by Monahan Viker. Oh, and then a really sloppy touch from Foti. Aaron Basic has got those long legs striding in behind. Nicholas almost looked half happy to keep it in the corner, but crossing didn't bear fruit. Agrelos, fine technical proponent of the game. Foti fouled again. Connor Starbo's had two or three of these, and you can hear the calls from the St George City supporters, given his final warning by Kurt Ams. City wanted to take it quickly. It's been called back. Kurt Ams becoming public enemy number one at Penshurst Park at the moment. Thankless task of the referee. Oh, now trying something clever. Monahan Viker's onside. A blessing in disguise for City. A Grelos to the captain. And it's a captain's knock from Monahan Viker to bring us level. Remarkable turnaround here. City looks second best in the first half. The second has been a different story altogether. Well worth the equaliser. And it's a bit of ingenuity that has found that second goal. The first time they've got to in a game in more than a month, and they're searching for a third here. Kamara going right at Alawalia, and there's options in the middle. McNulty. Will it fall for Foti? It took a deflection, and Marks kept it out. How this game has turned on two big moments. The penalty from McNulty, and then the piece of quick thinking from one of the substitutes, Agrelos, who's making his way into the area. McNulty, Foti wants it on his left foot. And that allowed Spirit to get back and block, but the danger's not averted. Dakota Askew, haven't seen him up here all night. It's not the worst ball. Off away by Cornwall, and Corey! Fingertip save from Marks. And suddenly it's City who look the more likely winners here. Is this the comeback to spark their season? I feel it could well be. Remarkable turnaround. Curry already nearly caught Marks out. He's done it! Unbelievable! City 2-0 down. They've turned it around in 15 minutes. Spirit is shell-shocked. And a quarter of an hour from heaven for City fans. The 1-2 blow from Monahan Baker and Curry, their heartbeat. And Spirit White might well have been knocked out. Unbelievable turnaround. Anyone watching that first half would have told you you were mad if you predicted this. They always seem to have topsy-turvy encounters, this two. And once again, they've put on quite a show for us on this Saturday night. A yellow card this time to Tom Cox, who just had a hold of Zayn Al-Awalia. Curry's got to make sure he doesn't find himself in the book either. Kurdam screaming at him to get out of the way. And Spirit, who looked set to get themselves back in the promotion race. I said Curry had to be careful. He now has got himself booked, and he's continuing the protest after his goal. Don't become the villain, Lewis. The hero very much at the minute. Free kick taken. Getting high was Aaron Batic. It's not towards goal, but Luke's there, and Kenny falls on it gratefully. Cornwall's got one heroic late goal for Spirit already this season. Couldn't add a second. And City will just have it down the other end now. Aaron Batic knocking it up in the air. What a match of round 19 we've had here tonight. Is there another twist in the tail? City will be hoping not. Provided enough for more than a chapter of this season's storybook. Well, their comeback tonight. It's going to have big implications at the top of the league as well. Premiership picture has changed quite dramatically in the last 15 minutes. Rockdale and Marconi fans looking on with a smile. Firm challenge. Lucevic one out. Aaron Batic has been causing issues, but he stepped offside there. And now a City player down. Just letting them catch their breath. It's Curry who has found himself on his back, complaining of cramp. Those first two goals from Connor Starbo and Takumi Ifuka seem a long time ago now for Spirit supporters. As we talked about City's toothlessness in the first half, Spirit have caught the same bug in the second. Jack Kenny's had one sharp save to make right at the start of the half. That's been about it. City building pressure through set pieces initially. Grasping onto the lifeline given to them by McNulty's penalty. Outthinking their opposition with a Grelos' free kick for Monahan Vaika after everyone stood and stopped. And then Curry's long bomb might have sealed all 3 points. With this result, City would jump Wollongong Wolves into 11th place. But they've still got defending to do, and Akubo's always a threat. Coming together between Ian Monahan Vaika, but Kurdam's had a good view. Kamada runs himself into a cul-de-sac. Cornwall wins it off him. Chidiak's ball in blocked. Thankfully, Spirit falls on the right side of the fence, but they got less than a minute of regular time to find their equaliser now. Lucevic. And Kamada manages to recover his initial error by winning the goal kick. How much time to be added on is now the question for Spirit supporters, and certainly for St George City. proverbial game of two halves, and it's City who may find themselves falling on the right side of things. Four minutes to be added on. Signalled to us by the fourth official, Alana Zich. Kenny hoists it high into the night sky. Cox does similar. Kunis did enough to make something of it, at least prevent Spirit clearing the danger. Getting it up the right end for them. Chidiac knocks it on. Wigan's full of pace. Wanted the free kick. Again, Monahan Viker timed his challenge. He's been titanic for them in the second half. The equaliser, a very good example of his leadership and his quick thinking. After the own goal last weekend, and it's some redemption for the City skipper. Kamada took his time. Nicholas goes route one. Aaron Basic. Kamada had the pace advantage. I think used his body pretty well there too. Spirit, who for so long tonight looked the right side of things. Now time is well and truly against them. One last substitution for Manny Spanadakis, who's done sub-job by getting his team back into this game. The substitutes have played no small part. First season in charge has not gone to plan for large parts, but tonight the turnaround has been in no small part down to their coach either. Zach Hamoud brought on. Shave head. Remember when he first came into first grade, it was quite easily identifiable. McNulty just too strong for his opponent, and now slipping it in behind. Chance to kill it off for City. Missing that final bit of quality. From their substitute. Showing his class again. He's all alone in the middle. Was young Will Curtis. He just needed the ball at his feet, and it might well have been 4-2. Might well have been a first senior strike. Not to be. Smith. Spirit's fluency has departed them. Sorting to just knocking the ball long, and the throw goes City's way. Every decision now applauded. Crowd at Penshurst Park has been treated to some turnaround. 30 seconds left of the allotted 4 minutes. City are taking their time with this restart though. Askew. Cox, another who's had an improved second half. And Basic did enough initially. Chidiac nods it forward. Went four for Jake Chidiac. He just can't get it under control, and Kamada clears the danger. Might get one last bite of the cherry here, Spirit. Nodded forwards. Aaron Basic. Not Askew in his back, and that might be enough. Kunis runs it clear. Foti in a foot race with Wigan. And he made his way into front spot, but Wigan was quick enough to recover. It's down the wrong end for Spirit. Calls for the final whistle. Filling the sky at Penshurst. Askew clears again, and that is it. The match of round 19 is City's, and in some style, they trailed 2-0 at the break. And through sheer force of will, they managed to turn the tide and the result. Spirit's Premiership chasing tatters as a result of a quite remarkable 45 minutes. It might be the performance of St George City's season. Mark McNulty gave them a lifeline from the penalty spot. Then a bit of quick thinking from the substitute Gonzalo Agrelos gave Monahan Viker the opportunity to equalise, with he took with both hands before Luis Curry's long bomb with 5 minutes to go proved the difference. Spirit wonder what might have been a second half display they won't want to watch again. And for David Perkovic, results now needed against Western Sydney Wanderers and Sydney United over the next couple of weekends. Well, what a pleasure to bring you this game on Saturday night from Penshurst Park for St George City supporters. A happy memory coming out of the second half performance. Alex Molchanov signing off from Penshurst, where it's finished St George City 3, Spirit FC 2.